What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to answer the age-old question of who do I 60 next? Well, there's a lot of things that go into this question, actually. It really depends. If you have a very straightforward roster and you literally have no champions on your account, then it's pretty easy to just 60 the best champion. However, once your roster gets a little bit larger, it becomes a lot more difficult. And honestly, the more questions you ask or the more details you provide, it gives the person trying to answer the question a little bit more context into what you want to do. So with that being said, I'm going to go over a couple Reddit posts, kind of randomly, ones that are asking, who do I 60 next? And I'll try my best to answer them. I think by answering them, it shows you guys who have the same questions yourself, my thought process on how I think your priority of 60ing your next champion should be. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, guys, so let's hop into this guy's account. Please help. I'm a new player. Next step. All right, so his next 60 here. So let's see here. So his first 60 is Aitlin, Ninja, and Loki. I definitely would have picked some other champions here, but sure, Aitlin does have Brimstone, and Ninja is great as a 60, but Loki, I'm not sure. He does have some champions to work with. I don't say that this is a brand new account or an early account. He definitely has some champions here. So first of all, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing way too many 50s. So usually what I like to do is try to keep the 60 to 50 ratio close to 1-to-1. You definitely don't want to make, you rather make 160 as opposed to like 5 50s, for example. It's just more impactful to have a 60. That 60 will scale better in higher level dungeons as well. So in this case, this player has made 2 KOs level 50, which is a big waste of resources in my opinion. Just make 160 KO and be done with him. And you can kind of see that this player has like spread out his resources quite a bit, making a bunch of 50s that won't see much play basically ever outside of the first maybe couple weeks of the game. Like you got Warden. Warden's okay, maybe in like certain levels, but that's super endgame. You have Horden here. Crimson Helm is fine-ish, and she is going to be very good in Bommel, but it's not really somebody you want to do 60 early game or even make a 50, to be honest. His 50s of choice are also kind of suspect. Haikatoon's okay. Rathmatab, it's not really a champion you can really want to invest in. Gaelic, also another champion you don't really want to invest too much in. Personally, his next 60 should probably be Wukong, and he should probably try to salvage, his account by building his Wukong as his full AoE nuker. After that, you probably need to wait. Most of these 50s are not worth taking to 60. Haikatoon can be played at 50. I would probably think about maybe leveling up the Vogoth, which probably would be the next best bet for this guy's account. But definitely Wukong would be his next 60 here, just because he does need a stable AoE nuker. Ninja is good as a boss killing champion, although his wave ability is not great. And then he has 2 supports here that don't really do anything against waves. So definitely Wukong here would be my first choice to 60. All right, on to this next fellow here. So he states that his main focus is actually to 1-key Nightmare Clan Boss and 2-key Ultra Nightmare, and also 1-key normal Hydra. So that's generally the progress level that this player is at. So he wants a champion, and he says that he has more epic tomes than legendary tomes. So he wants a champion that basically works against the clan boss as well as the Hydra boss. Further details into this post, he says that his choices are Allure, Rector Draft, Loki, White Dryad, Nia. So considering that he wants to progress in clan boss or improve it, Allure, Rector Draft, Loki, or White Dryad Nia would not be significant improvements in clan boss. Allure is very good in certain dungeons. Rector Draft can be good in some dungeons, faction wars, especially if you can't finish the Knight Revenant faction. And Rector Draft can be pretty good as a torment counter if you don't have Shamail. So for Hydra can be useful. Loki has some uses for Hydra as well. Mainly a PvP champion, not so good in the clan boss, but if you give him Brimstone, maybe he does some extra damage for you for clan boss. Although entering Ultra Nightmare, I don't see Loki being a big part of that. White Dragon Nia, he already has 1. Having 2 is good for his Trunda team, so I do see a Trunda here, but I don't know if he's set up for having, you know, dedicated 2 60 slots for a White Dragon Nia yet. Personally, I think he probably should go for, out of these choices, he probably should go for Rector Draft, because Rector Draft at least will help him in faction wars, help him clear the Night Revenant faction, which is really, really difficult. And she will be helpful for Hydra Clan Boss. Give him an option against Torment. Scroll to the next page for the images of the champions listed here. I don't really see anybody that's a standout 60. There's no shame or there's no hurry to 60 champions. So it's always good to hold maybe, you know, some chickens behind so that you can 60 a real game changer later on when you pull them. So out of the remaining champions, I don't really see a real game changer for Hydra or Clan Boss. So Rector Draft would probably be the decent pick here. I see Deacon down here. He's not leveled up. But I do see a Draco Morph here. So Deacon probably wouldn't be used in most part. However, Deacon does bring a Leech, which might help your Clan Boss team, for example, if you're not running Leech or Lifesteal. You didn't specify your Clan Boss team, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, Rector Draft seems like a pretty good 60 here. Mainly this blurb provides a lot of context, so it gives you more info on what to work with. And based on the info here, I think Rector Draft just fits the bill the best out of what you have. So that would be my choice for your next 60. All right, cool. So on to our next Who to 6-star. So he's thinking about High Katoon, not sure about Madame Sirius or Seeker. Anyway, need a good Clan Boss team and Arena team. Great. So they provide some context there, right? Personally, I think Seeker is a great choice for a Clan Boss, even in an untuned team. And Seeker is actually a really good champion for Arena as well, giving you the increased attack and turn meter boost. So you could definitely run Uko, Seeker, and then you go Ninja and then Kale. That works. Or you could go Uko, Seeker into High Katoon, or you can go Uko, Seeker into Madame Sirius. They all kind of work as long as you end off with a nuker. That works well. Seeker is a good candidate to be 60 here. In terms of any other options, I think Seeker is the pick for me. If I were to pick, I don't think I would pick any other champion, because Clan Boss wise, Madame Sirius is not going to help you there. High Katoon is okay as a 50 as a speed lead, but you don't really need her since you have Uko as a speed lead. And if you make Seeker a 60 and use Seeker in your Arena team, or Seeker can give you the increased turn meter boost that you need, which kind of replaces the High Katoon here as well, also bringing you increased attack. So Seeker to me is a clear 60 for this next progression for this account. So yeah. All right, Who to 6-star next? This guy, obviously a newer account. We're sitting with Ninja as a 50 and a Loki as a 50. So again, first thing here that I see is there's too many 50s on this account relative to the 160. You have poor Kale here carrying everybody by himself. He needs a partner in crime. And to me, it's a very obvious Ninja. Ninja is going to be a 60 for me. After that, it's kind of up in the air a little bit. You could go with Husk. Husk can bring some decent damage. He is pretty stat hungry though. But he doesn't work that well as a 50. Since he is so stat hungry, the banner slot would definitely help him out. Perhaps a Rogar can be quite good as well. Rogar for dungeons is incredibly strong. But I would probably prefer somebody a little bit more sturdy, or someone that can support your KO and Ninja as your third 60. Right now, I don't see anybody, so I would definitely hold off. But I think my next 60 would be Ninja, just to give some added support. He's also probably the best of the bunch in terms of who I would 60 next. Stag Knight stands out here as a 60 candidate as well to complement your two KO and Ninja here. I think Stag Knight would be my third 60 on this account, as opposed to my second 60. So Stag Knight would be my third, Ninja would be my second, and that's that's probably pretty good for this account. But definitely less 50s and more 60s. All right, another Who to level 60 next. Sitting on 2 chickens, waiting on his third chicken here. He's got a 60 Ninja, but not fully ascended. So definitely fully ascend your Ninja, first of all. And again, it's way too many 50s here, and Ninja is doing all the heavy lifting. So once you start building your first team of 60s, you'll see the progression level definitely fly. At this point, you definitely need more 60s to help out your ninja. As for who to 60 next, it doesn't seem like there is a clear answer to this. Maybe Morgan. Morgan can be a decent 60 because she does bring you a speed lead, turn meter boost, which can be really helpful in basically every area of the game, especially early. Morgan could be it. However, she is a legendary and probably requires books to be very, very useful. So I try to stay away from legendaries if possible, especially when your first 60 is already a legendary that requires your books. So I would probably prefer an epic champion if possible. Old Man Hermit can be a reviver for you, which can be okay. Nazana has some AoEs, which can be okay as well. Seeker, again, a very strong candidate for a 60 as well. Very good in many, many areas. Turn meter boosting, increased attack. Personally, I think I would probably focus on the Seeker just for some additional turn meter boost and increased attack, which would make your ninja hit harder. So I think for me, the next 60 would probably be Seeker, and I'd probably look to 60 Morgan next. However, booking her is another story. I might not fully book her out, but definitely focus on some of your 50s and turn them into 60s. And hopefully you can pull something along the way that can be a little different than what you have and help you out in progressing. All right, next level 60. So he's new to the game for 2 months, been wanting to deal more damage to clan boss, leveled Skull Crusher to 50. He has no idea who the next best champ is to 60 and not familiar with who's good or bad, don't want to waste level resources. I mean, it makes sense, right? But anyways, again, too many 50s for your 60s. You have Adlin at 60, Ninja at 60, not enough 60s to complement them. I'd focus on making more 60s as opposed to 50s. Skull Crusher is a good candidate to 60. However, he mainly used for clan boss. But if you're going to use him for high tier clan boss, he needs to be 60 because he's soaking up damage. He needs to recover. He needs a big health pool to survive. So having him at 60 is very good. However, he's not incredibly strong pushing through dungeons. He'll get you through it, but you definitely don't want to bring counterattack to dungeon waves because it just chews up a lot of your time. Wukong is also another great candidate for 60ing. He brings a lot of damage, block buffs, AoEs. Also the speed aura bonus in arena, which is very, very strong. Another champion here that actually is kind of hidden is Cold Heart. 60ing a Cold Heart early is actually very strong. Multi-hits against Fire Knight, turn meter drop, and max HP slam against the spider is very, very important. I would definitely push Cold Heart to the 60 list up here. I'd probably go Wukong and then go 60 on the Cold Heart and then probably 60 the Skull Crusher. By that time, you probably have at least a little bit of a base to handle most of your dungeons and then probably start thinking about seriously pushing into Clan Boss. If you want to use Skull Crusher, you definitely need healing in your team. So you need a set of lifesteal gear for Skull Crusher. I don't see a good Leech champion right now in your immediate roster. So definitely need to farm up some lifesteal gear. Also need a strong decreased defense champion. I don't really see one right now for AoEs. So that's another thing to really, really consider bringing into your team. But right now I'd bring Wukong, Cold Heart, even moving Cold Heart to 3rd as opposed to Wukong, just because you have 2 legendaries already. So having a fully booked Cold Heart to join them might be better in my opinion. So I would probably pick Cold Heart to 60 first and then reevaluate after that. All right, who should I 6-star? I want to 6-star somebody, but I'm not sure who it should be. I'm thinking about Eris or Demitha. Those are both used in my Nightmare Clan boss. I'm currently 4 key to get around 41 damage. Let me know what you guys think. So, obviously it's a new account. He's not going to be able to make like 300 speed Demitha teams for Ultra Nightmare. He'll get there eventually, but not right now. Again, too many 50s being used. You only have 360s. You have good 60s, Ninja, Wukong, KO. As what I would do for a next 60, I would probably 60 Cold Heart here as your next 60. Cold Heart's going to bring a lot of, she can actually be used in Clan Boss. She brings a little bit of poisons as well. She's squishy, of course, but she's going to be very good in dungeons and bosses and stuff. So definitely somebody to consider as your next 60. Demitha, if you get her at the right speed, you don't really need her to be 60, to be honest. She can do her job fine at 50. She doesn't need accuracy, so the banner slot's not really going to help Demitha too much. Fat Man could be a candidate for 60. He brings a ton of damage for Clan Boss. Also, he's very squishy with his small stats. So adding the banner slot can definitely help him out. He also requires accuracy as well, so that can definitely be helpful. The other champion I'm really looking into right now is Rector Draft. Rector Draft as a 60 can be really good for this account because she does bring a revive, and you probably need a revive for your squishy team. She also brings decreased attack, which actually is something you don't have, so you can use her for Clan Boss as well. You also have Death Bell. I don't know if you have legendary books, but I assume you don't, and I try to stay away from recommending legendaries because, especially early, because you don't have books. But Death Bell is definitely another great champion for Clan Boss that can definitely be used. But I think I would probably leave him and focus on picking up gear in dungeons, making sure that you can farm some decent speed gear so your Demitha can get higher speeds. And then you can start focusing on maybe building a Demitha team for your Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss instead of focusing on Nightmare Clan Boss. So I would probably go 60 Cold Heart or 60 Rector, and then reassess afterwards. Start farming up some gear and reassess afterwards. All right, which would be the best tank? I guess tank to 6-star. Okay, so he's new to the game about 3 weeks in. Got some nice champions doing Dragon 13, Spider 10, and he needs a tank for the team. So he's thinking Freya or Vogoth. Both can be on the same team. So yeah, Freya is a great tank, incredible carry champion. So this is probably one of the posts where there's kind of like a clear winner here, and Freya is definitely an incredibly strong champion, powerful shield, great passive, cleansing abilities, awesome, and not really easy to find in the early game. So Freya definitely very, very good as a 60 candidate here. Obviously gets better with books, but she can be okay without books. Just a longer cooldown. She doesn't really need books for like increased debuff chance. She does have a provoke, but you don't really need it. So I definitely would consider Freya here. I think there's not too much argument against Freya as a 60. I would have probably stepped back from 60ing Cirrus. So he did 60 Madame Cirrus here. So I probably would have stepped back there a little bit. I probably would have thought about Sun Wukong, kept Cirrus as a 50. She works fine as a 50. Vogoth as a 50 works perfectly fine as well, but as a 60, he would maybe be even better because he gets increased stats. So you get increased healing and all that, and he'd definitely be used in like things like Clan Boss and stuff. So first, I would go 60 Freya and then probably 60 Vogoth. Wukong might get a 60 in as well, but you are packing Kale. If you have the gear to support a second damage dealer, go for Wukong instead of the Vogoth, since Vogoth still is usable as a 50, but Wukong definitely is less usable as a 50 unless you just use him strictly for support. So it depends what you want to do with him. But overall, I think Freya is a pretty good 60 here and a great tank for your team. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the video. As you can clearly see, I can make this video like super long. There's so many questions about who to 60, and it's basically, endless. It's endless. It's probably the most asked question in the game. But the answer is never super simple, as you can clearly see from the post. Even if the post is simple, it's never super simple. Hey, do this. If someone answers you and says, hey, do this champion, without asking any questions, and you don't provide any details, you have to basically understand that the quality of their answer does not accurately reflect the complexity of what you're asking. If you provide them with details and context of what you are doing, you get a better answer in the end. And it gives you, honestly, it gives you food for thought, right? It makes you think. It makes you think about what your next 60 could be. And this will train yourself to answer your own question in the future. And that's ultimately what you want to do. Instead of having people answer the question for you, you being able to answer the question for yourself. Not every time it's not the best champion. Sometimes it's just the correct champion in that correct time. Anyways, guys, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys, provide you guys some insight and reasonings into how I break down and choose who to 60 next. Try to provide the proper reasonings for everything. And hopefully it gives you guys some food for thought. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. How do you guys break down and decide who to 60 next? And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.